So here we are, May 17th, and it is already so freaking hot. I don't remember being this hot as a child, but then I wasn't carrying as much weight around with me, excess weight around as a child. But the garden is changing, it's flourishing. This is probably my first spring to fertilize. I've usually just relied on compost. I've got some fish emulsion liquid that I've been mixing with some of the rainwater from my rain barrels. I'm wondering if that contributes to how lush things are. The tomatoes, of course, have started putting on fruit, which I'm very excited about. I've got basils getting big enough. Got several plants here. But I'm thinking later this week is going to be some pesto. My Egyptian walking onions. I don't think they've ever looked this good, but I've also not had them in full sun. This one wants to plant outside. I'm going to just tuck that in there. But look at the basil, isn't it beautiful? Okra is starting to come up. Onions are still thriving. I've got a little flower coming in on my eggplant. I've got some, these are Hungarian paprika. And then those free seeds I got for the sweet honey pippin, or whatever they're called. They put on purple flowers. I thought that was interesting. Well, I put seeds in the pot that this was in. It seems my parsley also got in there. So I have a parsley, which, that's fine. I probably didn't need so many peppers. Although, I said everyone that was in those compostable pots all were stunted and useless. I need to pull up the kale. We might have that for dinner tomorrow. We're grilling. The garlic needs to come up maybe this evening. I'm tired. We've been moving mulch for a week. I got some from a chip drop. I'll have to show you how that's progressing. We're at a point now where we've just asked people to come pick up as needed or wanted. You don't need it, just take it. But my grapes are starting to put on leaves. All except my fry muscadine here. It's the only one that's not showing any signs of life. Fortunately, I got it from Stark Brothers, so if it doesn't do something in another month or so, I'll contact them. My artichoke, of course, is thriving. This is the Cowart muscadine. And it's got a little long stem there that I might need to try to propagate that. This is the Swiss chard from last year, which is getting eaten by something, but still seems to be flourishing. These are those Tabasco peppers. I planted 3 of the 4. The ones in this bed are doing really well. That is my Suffolk grape there behind it. And then I put the red sorrel hibiscus here. I saw another gardener a little further south from here that had planted one. She talked about it being like 6 feet wide, 10 feet tall. So I might not have given this enough space. We will see. My paradise rose is starting to bloom. I've fertilized it, hoping maybe that will help with all the yellowing leaves. But it's starting to bloom again, and it's beautiful. This is the Swiss chard I put in this year. It seems to be coming in nicely. This is my spicy oregano and parsley. This is some I started from seeds, but I've done it in one of those plastic pots. All the ones in the compostable pots are dead. The French thyme here I purchased. Rosemary's been here for a couple of years. I think I got it last year. I used some of that mulch to try to cover as much of this that was not mint. There's still some things I need to cut down and pull because there's some sort of tree trying to grow in here. And I need to hang my tools back up. They're all kind of right here because of the mulching situation. And this is my apple tree. I think those are zinnias. When it came to planting the zinnias and the cosmos, I just kind of started throwing seeds out, see what would happen. There's my Mother Day marigolds, my lemon thyme I planted last year, my lemon balm I planted last year. This is the apple tree I planted last year. I don't expect fruit off of it, although it looks like it's trying to put on one, but it put on a second flush of flowers, which surprised me. I probably should have taken those flower buds off my elephant garlic, but I forgot. That's the oregano I planted last year. My corn and beans and sweet potatoes here. If it cools off enough this evening or tomorrow morning, I'll plant the last 2 sweet potato slips and put in some more corn. At least finish off all the Aunt Mary's corn that I've got. I'm really liking these pathways my wife built for me. So I know I'm like all over the place today. I like a bit of focus. There's the garlic I planted last year, the elephant garlic. This is my Triple Crown blackberry. I'm kind of surprised to see what look like flower buds on that thing, because I've just planted it 2 weeks ago. This is the Chester, I think, blackberry. This is the Arapaho I got this year. That's the Arapaho I got last year. You can see it's starting to put on some berries back there on last year's cane. This is this year's cane. So hopefully that means next year I'll have a whole bunch more berries. This is the raspberry I got last year. I don't remember what variety it is. But that's last year's cane and it's done nothing. So I'm hoping these canes survive well enough to put on fruit next year. This is the Latham raspberry I got this year. I'm kind of surprised to see it has fruit on it as well. The strawberries, it's some sort of everbearing variety. I don't know what sort. I got it at a big box store of some sort. It's my dahlia I planted last year. I planted like 12 last year. This is the only one that came back. These are zinnias, my Texas tarragon. I'm not 100% sure what that is. Like I said, when it came to flowers, I just started throwing seeds out. But I think that might be a Canterbury bell or an Irish bell. And then, of course, sunflowers. The beans are doing really well, although I saw a stink bug in there today. He got away before I could smush him. With the cucumbers. I found a female flower yesterday for the first time. I'm very excited. Squashes, of course. Beans are what I'm most excited about this year. My last couple years have not done well with the beans. I think because I was using pinto beans I got from the grocery store instead of seed. This year I bought seed. But these red beans came from a bag from the Costco. Not sold as seed, sold as dried beans. This is what I have going in my grow bags. I bought some more grow bags. I'm pretty excited about that. I've got some peppers, some cayennes that I'm going to put in those. But this is my Creole, 2 of my Creole tomatoes that I didn't find a place for in the bed. And the Angelonia flower that my wife picked out. I have 2 grow bags of peanuts. Never grown those before. You've probably heard me mention that my great-grandparents are peanut farmers. By the point I knew them, they were not doing any farming. They were actually living with my grandparents. And all I remember about Papa Jim is that he played the organ and rolled his own cigarettes. I'd sit next on his lap while he rolled cigarettes when I was little. This is my pickle bush cucumbers. I might need more if I want to try to make pickles. This is a tomato I'm trying to root. I let the sucker go too long. This is my Cubanelle peppers. I got them started late. They were free seeds that I got later in the season. So I just kind of put them in. They sprouted, so I stuck them in this bigger pot to see what happens. I've got a whole thing going over here of tomato suckers that I keep missing. Some are doing well, some are not, but I figure if I've got a 10% success rate, it's still free tomatoes. And there's my last 2 sweet potato slips. And these are the cayennes. Also seeds I got later in the season. Probably planted them a week earlier than I did the cubanelles. Can't remember, I'd have to look at my garden journal, be sure, but these I want to put in the grow bags. I just can't decide, since they're 15-gallon grow bags, I don't know if I'm going to do 1 or 2 plants per bag. But I promised you tomatoes. I have tomatoes, so I think this one is an Amish paste. And then there's this little cluster going here. Got a few of them here. I think those are my San Marizanos. And then my mortgage lifters haven't done squat yet. They're put on flowers, but I've got this. That is one of my Creoles. It's already a golf ball size. I just found it yesterday evening. And yeah. But I'm excited how the season's going so far. Things have had a little bit slower start, but my spring plants lasted longer than I expected. We did go from mid-70s to upper 90s overnight. Hence the shade cloth. Not the best setup here, but for a oh shit, it's already expecting 100 degrees kind of situation, I think it's okay. My original plan would have involved a couple more T-posts, and maybe I'll get the energy to get those and put them up. But like I said, we're hitting high 80s to upper 90s. The day it was supposed to be 101, it actually only got to 98. Pretty excited about that. Hoping for some rain. But yeah, that's the garden right now. Some of the wood chips had a lot of leaf matter on the top, and they started composting. So I threw some of it into my compost pile. I figured it's halfway there. I'll make use of it. I might be able to put one more wheelbarrow load in a flower bed up front. I'm really just kind of hoping people will take what's left. I will be posting a video of this pile later. Here's the front yard and the mulch situation. My wife's been doing the one raking them out. We will probably finish that this evening if it doesn't rain. Like I said, it's hot. We are tired. But here is my LSU fig that I got. I'm hoping in a few weeks I can take that little plastic thing off and the roots will be settled enough. And this is my Celeste, my 12-year-old baby. This is the biggest I've seen these figs get at this point. These things aren't supposed to mature until very last couple of days of June, and the first 3 weeks of July is usually when I'm harvesting. It is so much cooler inside here. Also, last year I started trying to air propagate. I'm not sure if you can see these plastic bottles. Got 2 of them. They've got roots, so I'm gonna have to cut those soon and put them into pots. I'm pretty excited about that. I promised my brother-in-law a fig tree, and this is what he's gonna get. That cherry tree I got from Costco has not fared well after I repotted it. I did not repot the false banana. This is Pierre. I've had him for probably more than a decade. My wife painted him to match the cauldron in the back. And then I have roses. I fertilized these yesterday. I'm hoping they'll kind of perk up a little bit. Some rain will probably help too. I want to put at least these two in the blue pots into the ground, but we had boxwoods here and we cut them down, and those roots are pretty tight in there, so I'm hoping they'll rot a little bit, and this fall I can actually be able to work the soil and get those in the ground. And yeah, my pomegranate, it came back. My wife just put these things in tight around it to make sure it did not get mowed down and treated as a weed. I might see if we can get another one of these bricks tucked in here and make it a little bit wider and add some mulch to it as well. We had a horrible freeze a few years ago that killed back the pomegranate tree. It used to be about 6-7 feet tall, but we put on blooms and maybe like 1 or 2 fruit. It hasn't bloomed since the freeze. So last year my wife cut it all down, like we're done. And this is what it has managed to grow in 2 months. Well, last couple of months, this spring. That's just obscene. Hopefully it will put on some flowers, because even if it doesn't put on fruit, the flowers are gorgeous. My wife was gifted some fun lights for the garden, and she enjoyed putting those up. The larger ones are solar, and the little twinkly ones are electric plug-in that we've got a fun little remote for. And then, of course, our favorite thing in the garden. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's so dark. But our little cauldron fountain with the light-up floating fountain thing. So this weekend didn't seem to have a lot of time for the garden. Not that I had a whole lot I had to do. I was kind of hoping to get corn in the ground, but yeah, and maybe harvest the garlic. I think the garlic can wait a few more days. But this seemed to have been a weekend for running errands and picking up things we needed. Still didn't get all the mulch picked up that I would like. I think half of what I had left over after doing my projects got taken away when I offered it up on Facebook. Might try again in a couple of days, see if anyone else might want to take me up on the offer. But the garden is beautiful. We're enjoying sitting outside and enjoying it when we get a moment to rest. And my pantry is 90% reorganized. I feel like that's something I need to do about every 6 months to catch up on things. And Sage is enjoying her time outside resting. You can tell she's still having some hard time with her back legs. She got diagnosed with a degenerative nerve disease. I'm assuming it's something similar to what my previous German Shepherd had, and he had a degenerative brain disease. For Sage, it seems to be affecting her spine. I'm a little sad. But when we got her, she had been hit by a car and had had reconstructive surgery. We got her from a rescue group that had done a lot of work for her, and we've had her for getting close to 8 years. This November will make 8 years. I hope I've given her a good life and properly spoiled her. But in the meantime, the garden is lovely. I'm enjoying taking a rest out here with Sage. And I think my wife will be joining me once she finishes the pantry, because I am thoroughly exhausted. I did most of the emptying it out, and then we worked together to put it all back together. But thank you for watching. If you're enjoying seeing how the garden progresses this year, please like and subscribe. Hopefully next week I'll be a little more productive.